Welcome to another £5 dinner challenge where we try to feed the whole family for just under £5. Today, we're making a chili volcano. Very simple. First, let's make the chili. We slice an onion. We use everything. Now, with this budget, spices and fresh chilies are out of the question, but ginger is a really good and cheaper alternative. So, very simple. We peel this and we'll grate it. I mean, you can mince it very finely. You just don't want to detect the ginger. Once you've given it enough time to cook down, only the spiciness remains. So don't worry about the gingery taste. Let's cook some chili. Medium-high heat. Add some olive oil. And we sweat our onions. At this point, what you want to do is to cook them without color. You want to evaporate the water content to remove the harshness, to concentrate the sweetness of the onions. To help them get started, salt, season with black pepper. You see the steam coming out from here. That's the water content of the onions evaporating, and it takes the harshness of the onions with it. Now, if you see the bottom is about to burn, you can reduce your heat slightly. Once this is translucent and you can smell the sweetness of the onions, the grated ginger goes in. And this will give us the kick you normally associate with chili con carne. After about another minute, we can add our beef mince. Break this apart and we bring up the heat back to medium-high. Don't worry about browning so much just yet. The surface moisture of the beef needs to evaporate before browning can occur. So at this point, we're still removing moisture. I read somewhere, it takes 500 times more energy to evaporate 1 unit of water than to increase the temperature by 1 degree Celsius. So water evaporation takes a while. Again, we season with salt. This will also help the beef release the moisture, and black pepper. Once you hear the sound of boiling has turned into sizzling, you know the beef is now browning, singeing in its own fat. Now, we add our canned tomato. The reason why we're using canned tomato, it's not just for cost. Unless tomatoes are in season, they're rarely better than canned tomatoes because they're harvested at their prime. So the whole can goes in, we scrape the bottom to collect all the flavors from the burn bits, the fond. Or if you're using a non-stick, don't scrape the bottom. Now we break the tomatoes apart. Now once this has a thick consistency, we add enough water to cover our mince. And we bring it back to a boil. Now once this is boiling, you could put the lid on and simmer it for about an hour or until the mince is softened and we're good to go. But to give it some extra flavors, extra browning, we're going to cook this in a preheated oven at 150 fan for an hour, uncovered. While that's cooking, we'll cook some rice in accordance to the instructions. All right, after about an hour, our rice is cooked. Let's check on the chili. Beautiful. Before the kidney beans, we take this opportunity to skim off the excess fat. Now, we add our kidney beans. We first drain off the liquid. Kidney beans go in. Be careful not to splash yourself. Now, we bring some heat back to the pan. We stir this in. Remember, the pan is really hot from the oven, yeah? The canned kidney beans, they're already cooked. So all we want to do is to warm them up and give them time to absorb the flavors of the beef mince. Once it's back to a boil, lid on, medium heat, and we let it simmer for about 10 minutes. All right, after about 10 minutes, we have our chili ready. Beautiful. You cook this to the consistency you desire. So, if you want it less liquidy, you could simply reduce it without the lid for about 5 minutes. We have our rice ready. Let's plate and make a volcano. We heat up our saucepan to high heat. Now, we need 2 bowls. A big one, small one. All of this is optional, by the way. You have dinner already. Put this upside down and we add some rice around the small bowl. Push as much as we can. We take our serving plate and we flip. Very carefully remove the bigger bowl, and even more carefully we remove the smaller bowl. We ladle some of our beautifully cooked chili. Once you go to the edges, you really want to be careful. And for extra dramatic effect, a bit of vegetable oil or any high smoke point oil. The moment the oil is shimmering, we erupt our volcano. If this doesn't get your kid to eat dinner, Darwin says, let them starve. This is chili volcano. I really hope you enjoy.